Once there was a baby elephant named Dumbo. Dumbo's mother loved everything about him, but all the circus animals called him that because he had big floppy ears. Dumbo was proud to be part of the circus parade, but when he tripped over his big floppy ears, everyone laughed. Poor Dumbo felt terrible. He felt even worse when some boys made fun of him. Dumbo's mother picked up one of the boys to stop him from harming her son, but the ringmaster saw this and, fearing she was violent, took her away. With Dumbo's mother gone, Timothy Q. Mouse felt sorry for the little elephant. "I think your ears are beautiful," Timothy told him. That is how Timothy and Dumbo became best friends. But the other elephants didn't like Dumbo's big floppy ears. Dumbo wasn't allowed to perform with them anymore. It made him sad. Dumbo didn't think he'd ever fit in. He was too different. One night, Dumbo dreamed that he could fly. Timothy told Dumbo that all he needed was to believe in himself and he could make the impossible come true. Dumbo trusted Timothy, so he believed in himself extra hard. And that is how Dumbo became a flying elephant, thanks to believing in himself and a little bit of friendship. Dumbo became the most famous elephant in the world. He was also reunited with his mom. Next we have Alice in Wonderland. One day, a girl named Alice saw a white rabbit with a watch. He also spoke, and he said that he was very late. Then he disappeared down a rabbit hole. Alice was a curious girl, so she followed him to Wonderland. There, nothing made much sense. For example, Alice drank a potion that made her very small. Later, she became very big. Tweedledee and Tweedledum, two brothers who liked to recite poems, lived in Wonderland. There were also a field of beautiful flowers. For a moment, Alice thought she heard one talk. As she walked in Wonderland, Alice saw butterflies with bread for wings and a caterpillar who liked recitation. But Alice most wanted to see the white rabbit. She was curious what he was late for. "If I were looking for a white rabbit," said a Cheshire cat, "I'd ask the Mad Hatter." Then he disappeared. Alice found the Mad Hatter. He was already with the white rabbit. "No wonder you're always late. This clock is exactly 2 days slow," the Mad Hatter told the white rabbit and popped open his watch. The watch exploded and the white rabbit fled. Alice was upset. She had lost the white rabbit again, but Alice still had more wonders to see, like the Queen of Hearts. The Queen of Hearts had an army of cards at her beck and call. She also had quite the temper. "Off with her head," the Queen yelled, speaking of Alice. Alice thought she was doomed. Just then, Alice heard a voice. It was her sister. Alice woke up and realized she was back at home. She decided that no matter how grown up she became, she would always remember the wonders of Wonderland. Next we have The Jungle Book. Long ago in India, there was a boy named Mowgli. Mowgli wasn't like the other boys. He lived in the jungle. And although Mowgli was very happy, he never felt like he fit in. Mowgli was raised by a pack of wolves. They liked how brave he was, like he was one of the cubs. But one day the pack learned that a mean tiger was coming, and they decided Mowgli had to leave. The tiger's name was Shere Khan. Shere Khan didn't like humans, which meant he didn't like Mowgli. A big panther named Bagheera loved and cared for Mowgli, just like the wolves, but Bagheera thought the best place for Mowgli was out of the jungle, even if Mowgli disagreed. Bagheera wasn't being mean. He wanted what was best for Mowgli. After the panther left, a snake named Kaa wanted to eat Mowgli. Mowgli got away, but he definitely didn't belong in the jungle with Kaa. A bear named Baloo tried to teach Mowgli how to fight like a bear. "Give me a big bear growl," Baloo told him. "Grrr," Mowgli growled. "No, no, no," Baloo said. He wanted Mowgli to growl bigger. Mowgli growled with all of his might. Grrr! But he wasn't the best bear. Mowgli and Baloo laughed. Mowgli wasn't the best elephant either. After all, he didn't have a trunk. Mowgli was a terrible monkey. The monkeys liked being mischievous and throwing breadfruit. Mowgli was very lonely until he came across a group of vultures. But then the vultures used their wings to fly away. Mowgli was alone until he spotted a strange creature. She lived in the man village by the river. Mowgli was finally where he belonged. Next we have Bambi. All of the forest animals gathered around a mama deer and her fawn. The fawn's name was Bambi, and he was the new prince of the forest. One day, Bambi noticed some creatures in the trees. "Those are birds," his friend Thumper explained. "Bird!" Bambi shouted. The birds all flew away. Then Thumper showed Bambi the flowers. "Flower," Bambi said, this time more quietly. "That's not a flower, that's a skunk," Thumper giggled. One morning, Bambi woke up to find that the world had turned white. Bambi and Thumper had a lot of fun ice skating at the pond, but Bambi still had much to learn. In the winter, Man came and took Bambi's mother away. His father, the great prince, would protect him now. That was how Bambi learned about hope. He hoped that things would get better. When he was older, Bambi fell in love with a beautiful doe named Feline. Bambi and Feline were very happy together, but then tragedy struck again. Man had set the forest on fire. Bambi was not done learning, and that day he learned about fear. From across the river, the forest animals watched as the forest destroyed their homes. But Bambi remembered an earlier lesson. He did not give up hope. When spring came around again, the forest was green. Bambi was now the great prince. As he and his family began to live their lives together, Bambi thought of the lessons he wished to teach his children, and most important, hope. Next we have The Lion King. Mufasa was the king of a place called the Pride Lands. His son was named Simba, and one day Simba would be king. But Scar, Mufasa's brother, wanted the kingdom all for himself. When Mufasa was in trouble, Scar let him fall. Simba believed his father's death was his fault, so he ran away. In his exile, Simba befriended a warthog named Pumbaa and a meerkat named Timon. They taught him something very important, Hakuna Matata. It means no worries. Simba grew up with that motto. One night, he, Timon, and Pumbaa gazed up at the stars. Simba wondered if he had done the right thing by leaving the pride's land. Nala was a lion who had been friends with Simba when they were young. One day she found him. Nala explained that as a king, Scar had let the hyenas take over the pride lands. Simba was ashamed of himself. He told her that he didn't want to be king. Angry that he wouldn't help, Nala left. Then Simba came across Rafiki, a baboon who lived in the Pride Lands. Rafiki took Simba to the lake. There, Simba realized something. His father had been with him all along. "You are my son and the one true king," Mufasa reminded Simba. "Remember who you are." Simba decided to go back to the Pride Lands. In the Pride Lands, Simba and Scar fought. Then Scar revealed a secret. He, not Simba, had killed Mufasa. Simba knew what he had to do. He defeated Scar once and for all. With Simba crowned as the rightful king, the Pride Lands returned to normal. Never again would Simba forget who he was. But most importantly, the circle of life continued. Next we have 101 Dalmatians. Once there was a litter of 15 Dalmatian puppies. They lived in a small flat in London, but one day they went missing. Their parents, Pongo and Perdita, were desperate. They barked for help. 15 spotted puppies stolen. Have you seen them? The message reached a dog named the Colonel and a cat named Sergeant Tibbs. Tibbs had heard puppies barking at the DeVille mansion. "We better investigate," said the Colonel. Sure enough, the puppies were at the mansion. But it wasn't just 15 stolen puppies. There were 99 puppies in all. As soon as the news got back to Pongo and Perdita, they raced toward the mansion. It belonged to a woman named Cruella de Vil. Cruella wanted to make the puppies into a fur coat. Pongo and Perdita distracted her henchmen while Tibbs helped the puppies sneak out. Then Pongo and Perdita decided to take all the puppies back to London. The Dalmatians rolled in black soot to hide their spots so that Cruella wouldn't recognize them. When the puppies returned to London, everyone was overjoyed. Their humans, Roger and Anita, decided to buy a place in the country. "A Dalmatian plantation," said Roger excitedly, and that is exactly what they did. Well, that's going to be all for today. Till next time.